What's the story behind my channel name? Well, today I'm going to explain that for those new people who don't know. And I'm also going to share a little bit about my YouTube philosophy, where I'm going with the channel, and also share some of the tips that you guys have left in comments recently. I admit it's a strange channel name and it really doesn't tell you anything. But when I started thinking about starting a channel, I just kept coming back to this one phrase from a poem that I fell in love with about 20 or 30 years ago. The author's name is Darlene Stevens. She lives up in Spokane, if she's still alive. And the poem is called A Bridge Across Time. I love bridges. I also love the idea of building bridges. Bridges lead to relationships, and relationships are the only thing that solve problems. People do not listen to strangers and their opinions. They listen to friends and people who you have relationships with. And so if you want to influence the world, then you need to spend time building bridges and developing relationships. So the title of the poem is great, and that in and of itself could have been the name of a channel. But the last stanza, which I will find on my phone here, is where the From She to Me comes from. The poem was written about this woman's great-grandmother, and one of my hobbies is genealogy, and in my research I've been able to find pictures of 4 of my great-grandmothers, which, you know, when I found the last one, I was so excited. I would give anything to be able to have a conversation with one of my great-grandmothers. And so that aspect of the poem struck a nerve with me. So the last stanza reads like this: I'll live my life, and when it's done, I'll live again in those to come. For I'm a bridge from she to me, from those that were to those to be. So why did I start a channel? Well, there are several reasons. First, I wanted to learn how to video edit. And the reason I wanted to learn that is because I have piles and piles of family history that I wanted to put into a form that I thought other family members would be interested in watching or learning more about. It's hard to get people interested in their family history. And I thought, what's the best way to do that? Well, maybe it's video. And so I thought, well, if I start a YouTube channel, it will force me to learn how to video edit. And I wasn't going to do it on genealogy because I'm not an expert. Not that I'm not an expert on fans either, but anyway, I thought, well, when we were looking for this rig, we had a tough time finding any information on YouTube about it. The only thing we really found was Neil at Ultra Mobility, and I'm sorry he's still not posting, and I don't know why. I don't have any inside information. But anyway, it was because of his video that we ended up buying this. And I thought, well, I could do a video kind of on our travels and on the rig and how, you know, our experience and that sort of thing. And so that's what I decided to do. And that's how I happened to pick From She to Me. So the other reason that I started the channel was that I wanted to build a community where people could share information. And so as you guys have done with me, you've given me so many great ideas and tips, and I want to be able to share that amongst the people who watch this channel, because so often it's just, you know, you might find it on a forum, but most people don't diligently go to a forum every day and see what's new. And so I thought this is a better way to reach a larger audience, was with some kind of a YouTube channel. And so that's why I'm doing this. And where it's going to go, well, I will continue to post videos as long as I feel like my skills are improving, because learning how to edit has been quite a challenge. You know, you just don't realize how much there is to learn. Audio and lighting and, you know, colorizing or you know, changing the color of your bad video, or, you know, all those little things, and then, you know, transitions and how to tell a story. And there's just so much to putting together a video. But I've had to learn it on YouTube. And so everything I know I learned on YouTube. And I continue to spend hours watching other channels teach me how to do things better. Now, what I am not interested in is subscriber count for the sake of subscriber count. A lot of people like to keep score that way. I'm not interested in keeping score. I'm interested in developing a community, and subscriber numbers just don't matter. And you will never hear me ask for people to subscribe. If somebody wants to hang around, hey, we're all adults here. They can subscribe if they want to, and they can move on if they don't like what they see. Because I just want people who want to be here. I'm not after getting a lot of subscribers, and I'm just shocked that I've reached over 10,000 now. It just amazes me. Now, that doesn't mean they're all watching. How many channels do you subscribe to and then you never go back to again? So what matters is, are people watching it, and are they getting something out of it? And that's really the point. So you're not going to, I'm not going to do backflips because I reached a certain number, although I am very appreciative of people who do find some value here, and I'm going to try to continue to do that. But at some point, of course, I will not produce videos anymore, but I'm not going to ghost you. I'm not going to just disappear one day. I will tell you if I'm not going to do videos again, or if I'm going to take a hiatus, I will tell you what I'm doing. And I've already instructed my son, if I should, keel over and die someday, he's going to come up here and tell you what happened, so you don't have to be left wondering about what happened. So as far as John is concerned, because sometimes people ask, well, why isn't John in here, in the videos more? John and I have been married almost 45 years. We don't feel like we have to do everything together. This is really kind of my hobby. I pick the subjects, I do all the editing, I do most of the video. He does help out, and he's always been terribly supportive. So I have no complaints, and if, I love it when he throws in something that's that I can use, but sometimes he doesn't. And so, you take what you get. Anyway, at some point I will decide that I've kind of reached wherever I can go with this thing. Maybe sometime I'll decide that it's hampering our traveling, or it is interfering with something, and I could stop. I'm not here to make money. There is no way to make money on YouTube, really. I mean, if you really want to be serious about it, it would be great if I covered my expenses, but I don't need to make money on a YouTube channel. And so I was kind of taken aback recently when one of my earliest subscribers said, you're turning into, just like everybody else, other subscriber. I mean, you're turning into the same thing that all these other channels are. Next thing you know, you're going to have a Patreon account. And no, I'm not going to, because I don't need to. And I don't begrudge anybody for doing that, because I love the content that I get on YouTube, and I do not begrudge people who need to make a living. And so I don't think we should begrudge that of others. They do what they feel they need to do. But primarily I'm here because I enjoy it, and as soon as I stop enjoying it, I will not produce video anymore, at least not this style. Maybe I'll go off and actually do the family history videos that I want to do. And that's really what my Alabama story was about. That was really my first stab at creating a video that was for family history, and also to, in one way you attract cousins is by having videos up there, with family names, because there are genealogists looking for stuff like this on YouTube and all the other platforms, trying to get any kind of a hint they can to learn more about their family history. I want to give a shout out to another YouTube couple. So if you like to see couples, I'm sure a lot of you probably already watch them. And it's, they're our age. Just in case you don't know, I'm 66 and John today is 67. And they're probably around our age. It's called Van Trekking, Owen and Lynn. And I like channels where it's obvious that the people are trying to improve their skills and they're trying to learn. And I appreciate that. And I think it's good for other YouTubers to give shout outs to people like that are, worthy of maybe giving them a try, that sort of thing. So I'll put a link to their channel below. And they're in North Carolina, and they have I think a Winnebago. I don't pay too much attention, but they also have the same rad minis that we have. And so anyway, that's my shout out for today. Okay, so now I'm going to move into the comments and tips and things like that that you guys have left me that I want to share with all of you. So here it is, and hopefully this second take that I've just done I didn't flub up again. You know, I don't have my glasses on, and the screen just told me something. I don't know if what I've recorded and what I haven't, but the light's still red. Okay. So last year, when we were coming back from Alaska, we stopped and visited with viewers, Ken and Anna and Ken. Got that straight this time. And she has a bookstore in Terrace, British Columbia, and I bought this book so I could keep track of things like the tips that people give me. Sometimes I forget to write them down, which I kick myself for. It's come in handy. I really like that, and I'm going to keep doing that. Then way I can keep track of, where we camped, what night, maybe how much money we spent on something. I don't know, whatever it is. And I like having this kind of a day planner type thing where I can write down ideas. So if I think of something that I might want to do a video on, I can do that as well. I probably should share a few more things about YouTube. I read all the comments. And there's a couple things you need to know as a viewer. These are things I did not know when I was just a viewer. If you put a link in a comment, it goes into the review. It goes into a separate bucket. So it's not posted until I've checked it off as it's okay, because occasionally you'll get somebody who'll post a link that is inappropriate. And so you need to know that. So I have to remember to go to that special bucket and look and see if somebody has posted a legitimate comment with a link, because I don't mind that. So feel free to do that as long as it doesn't get out of control. And then sometimes comments go to the spam filter, and I don't know why, because they're people who comment frequently, and they do, and so I have to check that one as well. So I have to check those two buckets. And then if you reply to a comment, so if you comment and then I reply to you and then you reply to me, sometimes it's really hard for me to find those. So if I don't answer you, maybe you've asked a question, or if I haven't seen it, it's because they kind of get buried. And YouTube, I don't think, does a good job of helping the creator see the comments. And I guess sometimes they go to email, and anyway, it's just confusing to me. Maybe it's because I'm old. But so a lot of this stuff, if you didn't grow up with this stuff, you're learning it as you go. Sherry Moore recommended a custom cup holder from a company who has a little storefront on, it's called caravan.myshopify.com. And it's a really interesting wood. It's made out of wood, and it's a cup holder that goes up in the front of the Mercedes chassis, or in the dash. And so the cup holder was quite pricey. I think it was over $100, but they had seconds, and so I did order a second, and it has arrived at our house. So when we get back on Friday, I'll be able to take a look at that and show it to you when we have it installed, because it looks really interesting. Might solve a lot of our cup holder problems. And I had a cup holder comment, somebody from Europe who said, "Why, Americans are so obsessed with cup holders." And yes, we are obsessed. But I think once you've had decent cup holders, you can't go back to the shallow ones that are in European cars that are, don't hold our ginormous cups. And maybe we don't need ginormous cups, but we've become accustomed to them. I love to share things that are funny. Gary Nichols, when I had asked the question about what you guys do with your golf clubs, if you carry golf clubs, and Gary Nichols says that when he had a girlfriend, she told him the only place I could keep the clubs was at the end of a rope tied to the trailer hitch. I really appreciate that comment. For those of you who are interested and still looking for trailer hitches, swing away hitches, things like that, I didn't realize that Yakima makes one. And Ron Elson says that it's a swing away hitch, and it's rated for 400 pounds. So if you are looking for other swing away hitches other than the one we have, which is the Wilco swing hitch, take a look at the Yakima. In one of my videos not too long ago, I had mentioned that I had that new rack in the bathroom, and that I might have to put some adhesive or something against the back so that it didn't bump against the wall. And so Jackie Horn recommended medical adhesive, and it's a latex-free adhesive foam. So if you need something like that, she recommends trying out that. Edward Moran, who had seen one of my earlier videos, probably the one I did when we were down at Agile Off-Road, and we had purchased the jack, the beefier jack from them. You know, if you've ever had to put those underneath a rig, it's sometimes hard to figure out, well, where does that thing go? And so he recommended take a can of red spray paint and spray the points where the hitch, where the jack can go safely. And I thought that was a great idea. So I'm going to see if I can get John to spray paint under the car, just in case, you know, I'm out alone or he's out alone or whatever. It's just easier to find if it's got red spray paint on it. In fact, I put a red fingernail polish on our Mercedes key, the fob, because it doesn't have anything to indicate which is lock and unlock, and you know, when you've got 66-year-old eyes, you just can't tell. And so I put red fingernail polish on the one that is for the lock position. And the last tip from recently I will share is from Scott. Scott sent me photographs of what he did in the dashboard of his Mercedes chassis. I think in a previous life he had actually been like a radio installer or something like that, but he sent pictures because he wanted me to know that even I could install an additional USB port on the passenger side of the dashboard, that you run a wire from the driver's side, which already has a USB port in it. And anyway, he sent me a picture, and I will share that picture with you in case any of you are interested. I don't know if I'm quite up to speed on that yet. Maybe I'll take it to our Beach Auto Sound, because those guys have the skills to do it, and I'm not really into punching holes in my dashboard, but maybe I'll get brave enough when this rig is a few more years old. So when we get home, I'm going to go through a lot more comments and write them down, because you guys send me such good tips, and so that I can share those with you. And be sure to share, you know, tips with me. If you have pictures you want to send me, then you can email me, and I'm also happy to help any of you people who are trying to, you know, sew your curtains. I've helped a few people. I've spoken to them on the phone and done a FaceTime so that I can show them a little bit. And you know, I just encourage you to try. You cannot make a mistake with fabric. You can always stitch more fabric on if you cut it too small. I've had to do that a few times because I've had to make changes here, and you know, I've added things and subtracted things. And so don't be afraid of cutting to the fabric, because you can always add fabric on. Nobody's going to comment about your curtains, believe me. So I encourage you to, you know, forge ahead with that. And then as far as the screen goes, we're coming down to the end of our trip up here in the Sierras. It has worked beautifully, and we had 50-mile-an-hour winds a few nights ago down at Hilton Creek, and thing didn't budge. So I'm really pleased about that, and I'm looking forward to getting home and trying out the fabric that my brother has sent me, so I can keep creating these and hopefully get to a point where I can make these for some of you guys and then expand to some other chassis. And it's not because I need another business. I don't know. I guess I sometimes tell people I have a genetic defect that makes me like to help people out with problems, but that's the way I am. So thanks for watching. If you have any more questions, any burning questions that you need to know, please put them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.
I could never settle down too far away from my hometown. With my family I am bound. I stick by them till I'm in the ground. Ooh. Ooh. resting on the myth of old. All of the stories have been told. Secret places hidden where are gone now as far as I can tell.